mean, this is a really relevant subject because everybody I know is trying to figure out what the heck their ritual is. And, because it's just all messed up. It's just all like,
it's a big subject.
2019 was another universe away, and I don't know what I'm doing with my life now, so I think this is a good one. Great topic. Great topic.
Well, and we scratched the surface.
Exactly. But that was fun. I enjoyed it. And
me too. It was great fun.
So, and I'm looking good for next week. I think I'm fine if that's good for you.
Good. Like I said, my goal is and I'm really going to try to keep us to 50 minutes, 55 minutes.
No, that's good. That's
tops.
Good.
It just because it's just easier to edit. When they go longer, it just takes so much longer to edit. And I really want us to try to get them out religiously every Wednesday.
And at some point we might want to talk about something like all I want for Hanukkah is my two front teeth or something. And we could talk about the different celebrations that go on during this time of the year, or, I don't know.
I think actually that's a great subject for next week. It's December.
Yep.
Let's talk December.
Yeah, I think so.
What does December mean to you?
Right. And that's, a lot of people have gotten into, well, Jesus probably wasn't born during this time. And it's like, well, yeah, no, I don't think that was ever. I mean, to me, the point was that it was to reshape a Roman ritual that happened during this time. And that doesn't invalidate it, but it definitely, the people that were thinking Jesus was born on December 25th, it's like, I don't know, who knows, but the calendar was different, the schedule, all of that, but it's
so we should call it "'Tis the Season to Talk About the Season."
Yeah. There you go.
Like that.
I like it, and I think that would be a good one. And a pastor and an atheist talk about. Talk. It was, what interesting, and we'll hop off of this, but our neighbors are Jewish, and culturally. I think they would say they're culturally Jewish, but beyond that, not really sure.
I can relate.
But so the daughter's really young, and Cheryl is her Auntie Cheryl. They come over, and Cheryl, since she didn't have a daughter, just loves hanging out with her. But at one point, the mother was saying, well, here's the songs we're singing as we're starting up our Hanukkah. And Cheryl, had heard some of the words and was like, oh yeah, I know some of the words in that song in Hebrew, and what do they mean? And then her comment was, well, that's one of the weaknesses of Jewish teaching. I don't know what half of the words mean. I know what some of them mean. I don't know what the other ones mean, but I have it memorized and I can sing it. And I just thought that was fascinating, because there you go. That's a ritual,
right? That
it still has value. I'm not saying it's a dead thing, but it's a ritual that it's not actually the meaning of the words that are central to the ritual at this point. It's something else that's going on that makes it important, and something she wants to pass on to her daughter, even though they're not religiously committed to it.
It's funny when I go to a Jewish ceremony where people put on a yarmulke, or I won't put one on, and I won't do any of that stuff because I don't believe in the ritual. And so rather than, to me, if I were to do that, I'm making the ritual hollow.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm doing it just for the show of it, and I will not. And I feel like I respect their ritual too much to treat it like it's just kabuki.
I like that. That's interesting. That's a really interesting angle to come at that with.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a Hanukkah thing the other night, and everyone was singing the songs, and I love my culture, but the religious aspect, and this kind of is somewhere between the two, but you're singing songs about a story that didn't actually happen. And so, this is kind of where you're I have a problem with that.
So the question is, what are you doing if you participate in that without believing in what's behind it? I guess.
I would have, I don't get invited to Passover Seders anymore because because to me, that's a ritual. And when I was a kid we could have had this conversation as part of the ritual thing. we hosted Passover at my house.
Yeah.
And the Passover Seder is nothing but ritual. Man, it's like it's a half an hour of man, we're starving. Can't we just eat? Of doing the whole Seder part before you can even really eat. It's so annoying. It's so annoying when you're a kid and it's just nonsense to you. And then when you get to be an adult and it's still nonsense to you, it just gets to be more annoying nonsense. But yeah, I would poke holes in it because I don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it.
That, thinking about what my family did growing up around Christmas, the big thing was lighting Advent candles during the Christmas season. Mm-hmm. And I remember that feeling hollow until I kind of decided whether or not this was something like a faith for me.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Because again, it was like, if we're just lighting candles and reciting something to be a family, I was like, I don't know. But
are you still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because this won't be in the episode. This is bonus material. This is really good stuff. This is just.
But I mean, I get that because also I remember in high school when I was an usher in church, and I was just thinking, is this the point? Is like you get people there, preacher says something, you put money in the plate, some of the people fall asleep while he's preaching, and then you go have coffee and talk about stuff unrelated to what was happening in worship, and you go home. Is that all this is?
Is that all there is?
Yeah. And that's where, in some ways I think I was prepped for what I'm doing now, because the real vital stuff to me happened outside of church. That was where it was real. And then I'm like, oh, that's why we do all of that, was for this, but this isn't there for a lot of people, and so that's why I think for me, I feel like versus some other pastors I know and others, it's easier for me to say, yeah, things are really kind of dysfunctional in the church, so let's do it this other way. But for them, there is no other way. And so it's like, well, this is all there is. And then for some people, they're so into the ritual that protecting the ritual is the whole point, which that's where I get in a lot of hot water, because all of that is just additional whatever. This stuff's the whole point. And so if I was where you are and thought this stuff is all fake, then why on earth would I engage any of the ritual stuff, which is like built on the fake stuff and has no power in itself? So I get it. I get it. But it's kind of funny. I kind of went the opposite in terms of starting with the ritual, but then deciding, this is something for me. But then, I mean, since then we've done Advent candles every once in a while, but it's not like central to what we do, even though I now would have a reason to do that. But I think there are better ways to remember what we're talking about than doing
and still that ritual never worked for you.
Right. And see, that's where I'm very much within the Christian frame. I'm way on the Protestant, like, there are Protestants that like more liturgy and stuff, but I can appreciate liturgy, but to me, it's all overlay. If it helps somebody, great. But for a lot of people that when I'm in a service where there's a lot of liturgy, they're just saying the words. It's like, oh, it's time for me to say this, da 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 da. And it's like, but that's not why I do this. I don't do this to protect a liturgy. The liturgy is meant to do something for people that's real. Otherwise, why do it? That's kind of my But
and the liturgy itself is a construct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to me, it's a construct that's supposed to help people in their faith.
Yes.
But so if you don't have faith, then forget the liturgy, because there's no point. Or if you're doing it just for the liturgy and you never get to the faith, there's no point. There's this one part where in the Gospels where somebody's, asking Jesus about how they should pray. And he's like, all the leadership of the church, they like to pray with lots of words and be really known for what they say. But I tell you, go sit in a closet and do your prayer so that only God can hear you. And it's that challenge on, is this stuff real for you?
You don't need all the other stuff. It's so simple.
That's right. That's
Even
right.
Really from the faith point of view, it's so much simpler than everybody makes it.
That's right. Oh yeah. And I think that's part of what I'm really trying to help people with. Because a lot of people are stuck thinking, oh, I'm not at church doing X, Y, Z, and 12 other things, so I'm not a good Christian. And what I keep trying to tell them is, look, Jesus struggled with the institution. Jesus boiled it down to much less than all of this stuff. And the stuff can be helpful, but when it's not, get rid of it. You don't have to conform to stuff, to be faithful, to be on your faith journey. You don't have to conform to all of this, because that's not ultimately what it's about. But it's amazing that can get you in really hot water, even though that's the point of it, but it can really shake up some people that are guardians of the ritual. They do not like that, because they're all about the ritual. And if somebody says that it's not as essential as you're saying it is, that's how you can get burned at a stake in a different time, by suggesting stuff like that. So anyway.